about evaluating an editor. So I'm an author. I need an editor. I know I need one. And I've decided that I'm probably, because I listen to this show religiously, I'm probably going to go with Mary Cole, Amy Tipton, or Alison S. Weiss. But assuming you're all busy with wonderful projects and none of you are available for this, what's the best way to evaluate an editor and to know that you're going to get your money's worth and you're going to be a good fit?
Well, I really do believe in doing your research. You know, a good freelance editor will have a website, I hope, where you can see the kinds of books that they've worked on, so you can kind of get a sense of the sorts of projects they've done and whether you are writing a project that would fit into that that basket. You know, if you're seeing somebody whose past work that they're displaying is all picture books and you've written a super gory YA that's like pushing the limits, the picture book editor is probably not going to be a great fit to help you.
What if she's really frustrated? There's like, all I've had is these cute picture books. I wish there was some violence. Maybe you're striking while the iron's hot. Probably not, though.
Maybe, but probably not. But also, often, usually I hope, there will be testimonials there so that you can see what people who have actually worked with this person have to say about him. You know, I'm very lucky to have had some great people who are willing to say very nice things about me, but also very specific things about me so that you can get a sense of how I work often from what people have said about my style. And I'm I'm very grateful for the nice things people have said about me. They don't have to. So I think those are two, I think that's one way to start your search process. Google is also great because you can see interviews and podcasts, things like this, to kind of get a sense of personality. And I think personality is also a very, often a very important part of working relationships. I also really think that you can ask, you know, when you're querying somebody, be specific about what you're looking for and let them tell you if that's what fits them. That's part of why I ask for people to send me a sample, because when I give them my top level feedback of where I want to work, part of that is me saying, this is what I see. And if that's wildly different from the way you view your project, then I maybe am not a great match for you. And that puts the ball in your court to make that decision without kind of that pressure then of you know, being deep in it and you've maybe paid money already and you're like, this is just not a great fit for me. I have had clients who, before they signed me, asked if I would be willing to send them a sample of editing. And, you know, in all honesty, I probably wasn't thrilled about doing that at the time, because it's also a balance of, you know, the level of how much free labor I'm willing to do. You know,
what is a reasonable size sample just to get a taste?
But if it's, you know, a short sample, or, you know, I also very much encourage people, if there's specific questions that you have, tell me your specific questions, and I will, as part of my assessment, look at the project to give you some answers on those specifics. And you can use that to gauge. But, you know, if you're reasonable in your request, I think most people are willing to put a little bit of work into to show you what they can do so that you can make an informed decision.
So like what, 5,000 words, too much, too little?
I mean, when I evaluate a sample, I usually say about a chapter. So we'll see what a chapter works out to.
Perfect. My chapters are usually about 30,000 words long, so that's gonna be great.
we'll say a chapter or like maybe 10 pages. How about that?
And obviously, anybody that's read my work knows that I've never written a 30,000 word chapter ever. Lucky if I break 1,000 words. I like them short.
Short chapters.
So,
short chapters can be very effective.
So I come and I've gotten your feedback. This sounds great. You've got wonderful testimonials on your website. Should I then reach out to a couple of your clients just to check with them? What other steps should I take to protect my investment and make sure that I'm getting the editing that I'm going to need and it's going to be reliable?
I have had clients.
I should clarify. I'm saying you because I'm talking to you, but obviously we know that you're qualified and wonderful. We're imagining some other editor here.
I've had clients who have asked me if it's okay for them to reach out to some of my authors to kind of get the dirt on me. I have then asked my authors if it's okay because I also want to be respectful of their boundaries. And in the specific instance I am thinking of, I had 2 authors who fit the model really well, who were very willing to kind of make that connection and kind of speak about the experience of working with me. I think, it can be a little bit, you just have to be respectful of other people's space. But, as long as you're doing that, it's fine to ask. And, I also, part of my process too is that I have an actual agreement that that I sign and that a client signs that kind of lays out expectations on both sides. And if I'm not fulfilling those expectations, there are measures that are then taken. So I think it's also making sure that, you're legally protected so that you're not being taken advantage of. Maybe that's because my parents are both lawyers. So I come from kind of that background. But at some point, at some point you just have to take a leap of faith. And I think the majority of actors out there are acting in good faith. But it's, it's like going to a new car mechanic. You can do all your research and, all your research says that you're in a good position, but at some point you have to make the decision, am I going to this guy or am I not? But I think the majority of people are really good actors and that they're not trying to take advantage of you.
The nice thing about the modern information age is that you can listen to a show like this, get a sense that Alison as Weiss, obviously, extremely the perfect editor for anybody that would ever need some work done. They're going to know that without further research needed. But also, if you do get a bad actor, and occasionally you'll see something get headlines, an agent smuggling royalties or some editor acting inappropriately, they really only get a couple of shots to do that before every writer's forum is talking about them and flagging them.
So I think it's, do your research. I know when I'm talking, when I'm advising about agents, I don't give, specific agent referrals or anything like that. But, when people are talking about the querying process with me, I always suggest going to some of those forums to kind of do your due diligence, make sure that the agency or sometimes the publisher is legitimate, that, there are no red flags there. And that, you're going in with lots of questions and you're going in with your eyes open.